So what happens after you sign a release agreement after a crash?
Signing a settlement release might seem like the final step in an injury claim, but what you don't know could cost you big. In this video, I'll break down exactly what happens when you sign, what rights you're giving up, and what you need to consider before putting pen to paper. By the end of this video, you'll know why signing a release without a lawyer can be risky, what factors you should consider when negotiating your settlement, and what to watch out for before you sign anything. Hey, I'm attorney Lloyd Bourgeois, Louisiana personal injury attorney, and I've spent years helping injured people fight back when insurance companies try to take advantage of them. If you've been injured in a crash or other incident due to someone else's negligence, and you need someone in your corner, give my team a call. After an injury, getting a settlement offer might seem like a huge relief. The insurance company is going to hand you a check, you're going to sign a release, and the case is closed. Simple, right? Not so fast. That signature could mean giving up your right to any future compensation, even if you later discover your injuries are worse than you thought. So should you sign a release without a personal injury lawyer? If you've been injured and the insurance company is offering you a settlement, you might be tempted to take it and move on. But before you sign anything, you need to understand what's at stake. When you sign a release agreement, you're not just accepting a payment, you're giving up your rights to pursue any further claims against the at-fault party. That means if your injuries turn out to be worse than expected, if you need more medical treatment, or if you later realize the settlement wasn't enough, it's too late. You can't go back and ask for more. This is where having a lawyer can make all the difference. I've seen too many people sign away their rights without even realizing what they were agreeing to. Insurance companies love to push quick settlements because they know that once you sign, they're off the hook. They might tell you it's a fair offer, that it covers everything, or even pressure you into believing it's your only option. But the truth is, their goal is to pay you as little as possible, not to make sure you're taken care of. A personal injury lawyer can review the release, make sure you understand exactly what you're signing, and help you negotiate a full and fair settlement that fully and truly reflects your needs. Because once the release is signed, there's no going back. So you shouldn't rush into a decision that could impact your future. So what are some things you need to consider before accepting a settlement and signing a release? You need to step back and look at the bigger picture. The settlement offer might seem reasonable at first, but is it actually enough to cover everything you will need? Let's start with your medical expenses. Does the offer account for not just your past medical bills, but also any ongoing or future treatments? Some injuries require long-term care, surgeries, rehabilitation. If you sign too soon without considering these costs and expenses, you could be left paying out of pocket for it later. Next, what about your lost wages? If you had to miss work because of your injury, your settlement should cover that. What about if you can't return to work at full capacity? What if your injury affects your ability to earn a living in the future? These are things that need to be factored into any settlement. Pain and suffering is another element people often overlook. Your injuries don't just affect you physically, they can, but they also impact your daily life, your mental health, and your ability to enjoy the things you once loved. These damages are harder to calculate, but they're just as important when negotiating a fair settlement. You should also consider the insurance policy limits. The at-fault party's policy isn't enough to fully compensate you. You might have other options, such as filing a claim against your own uninsured motorist coverage or another party's coverage. And if you sign a release releasing everyone, those coverages may be affected. And finally, think about whether the insurance company is acting in good faith. Are they rushing you to settle? Has the matter been fully investigated? Is key evidence or injuries being downplayed or ignored? If you're feeling pressured, that's probably a sign you should step back and get some legal advice before making any further decisions. What should you watch out for before signing a release agreement? Look, a settlement release is a legally binding contract, and once you sign it, you can't undo it. That's why it's critical to read every word and understand exactly what you're agreeing to. One of the biggest things to watch out for is broad language. Release agreements aren't just about your current injury. They usually include language that prevents you from filing future claims related to this incident, may obligate you to pay medical bills you thought were covered. That means if another injury surfaces later, you'll have no legal recourse. And if medical bills pop up, you're going to be on the hook for them. Another red flag, confidentiality clauses. Some insurance companies want to include this language that prevents you from discussing your case, even with other injured parties or your family. That might not seem like a big deal, but in some cases, it could limit your ability to seek additional help or legal action. You should also check for clauses that release other parties from liability. Some agreements don't just protect the at-fault driver, they release other entities, like an employer if the crash involved a company vehicle, or a manufacturer if a faulty car part played a role. You need to be sure you're not unknowingly giving up claims against other responsible parties. Timing is another key factor. Look, if you're still receiving medical treatment and haven't reached what's called maximum medical improvement, meaning your doctor can confidently say you've recovered as much as possible, it's probably too soon to settle. But insurance companies count on people being impatient and needing quick cash. Settling too early can leave you with unpaid medical bills and no way to recover further damages. Signing a settlement release is one of the biggest decisions you'll make after an incident, and it's not something you should take lightly. Once you sign, your case is closed, and there's no going back. So make sure you understand exactly what you're agreeing to. If you or someone you care about has been injured due to someone else's negligence, and you're looking for an experienced attorney who will fight to get you the compensation you deserve, reach out to my team today. If you found this video helpful, please hit that subscribe button. I look forward to seeing you on the next video.